Embarrassing doing it stories. Let's hear them. Story 1. So it was my 18th birthday. It was about 12:30 a.m. at my house, and my girlfriend of the time and I were laying on the couch watching a movie. My family had gone to bed earlier, and my girlfriend turns her head and says to me, "I'm going to give you your birthday present now." We start going at it on the couch, and everything's going well. We're in the spooning position, and there is a blanket covering us up from the waist down. Not too much motion at the time, just some good grinding, but I was balls deep in her. The room suddenly got lighter, but a very natural non-electric light. My eyes look up to see my mother, father, and sister with a birthday cake walking into the room, singing happy birthday, while I am balls deep in my girlfriend. Story 2. Long time ago, I was having a relationship with someone I shouldn't, so we were sneaking around. We were staying at a friend's place in Colorado. Very cool, rustic, fireplaces. Make sure the doors are locked because there are bears kind of place. We were sleeping in separate bedrooms, but in the middle of the night I decide, very unusually for me, to be naughty. So I psyche myself into thinking I'm this "you were doing it" kitten. Put on nothing but a bathrobe and sneak into his room. I slip out of my robe and under the sheets, where he's asleep, and climb on top of him, intending to wake him up mid-erection and embody this intercourse fantasy woman I've created in my head. Whereupon he wakes up with a start, screams and pushes me off him, and off the bed, because he thought I was a bear. This stellar moment was followed by wild confusion on his part, and then me hiding under the bed naked for about 15 minutes in case our friend came looking to see what the yelling and loud thump was about. Although the sound of my ego deflating may have been louder. Story 3. Already posted this on a similar thread a while back, but for those of you who missed it, it's my college graduation party and me, my whole family, and a bunch of my friends are celebrating it in my backyard. We are having a good time drinking a few beers throughout the day, and the later it gets, the more crazy it gets. My friends, some family, and I are all half in the bag. I'm near blackout at this point, and all I can really remember is being behind my pool with this girl I was friends with, eating her out. Now in my drunken state I could sworn that it was dark enough behind there, but when I awoke the next day, my father assured me it wasn't. Not only could he assure that, but about 60% of my family could. Story 4. About 10 years ago, I took my GF to a small bed and breakfast in Harper's Ferry, VA for the weekend. It was really pretty up there, and being so far away from the city, you could see the Milky Way at night. So we're taking a drive around dusk when my GF spots an old Civil War cemetery. We stop, get out a blanket, a bottle of wine, and my big Maglite flashlight, so we can find our way back to the car. Needless to say, darkness and drunkenness combine well, and we start boonking away on all Caleb's burial plot. After I give her the best 20 seconds of her life, we're just laying there naked, enjoying the stars and the warm summer night, when a carload full of teenagers pulls up and starts walking through the cemetery, straight at us. The GF starts to panic because all our clothes are hanging on some headstone 4 graves away, and we're completely starkers. I tell her to sit back and watch the show. It's pitch black, so I figure that the kids' eyes haven't yet adjusted to the night. They were 10 feet away, obliviously coming straight at us. Just as they were 5 feet away, I jump up totally naked, turn on my 5D cell Maglite right into their eyes and yell, "D, stop right there. You're under arrest." Well, they scream like a bunch of 4-year-olds and bust butt towards their car, flying off in a cloud of dust. That's when I turned to my GF and treated her another 25 seconds of pure ecstasy. On the second round, I go the distance. Story 5. Late one night when I was in college, I decided to go for a run. I jogged a few miles to a park, and I was feeling pretty good, so I decided to finish by sprinting up a really big steep hill. I get to the top, now feeling like I'm about to pass out, and as I stagger around panting and gasping, I look up and I see the fleshy shadow of 2 people tangled up on a blanket a couple feet away, clothes off to the side, looking at me and blinking. I'm so oxygen deprived that I'm seeing spots, so I can't help but lurch around them like a pervert, taking these enormous rasping breaths, while we stare awkwardly at each other. After 10 or 15 endless seconds I turn around and try to scurry away. Story 6. The one that instantly comes to mind is when my boyfriend and I had intercourse for the first time after I started using the Nova ring. He pulled out after a while only to find my Nova ring caught under his foreskin. For some reason, it reminded me of those hoops that hang out of a bull's nose, and I lost it. He's standing there with my birth control dinging from his peen, and I'm just laughing my butt off. The mental image still makes me chuckle. Story 7. When I was in the army, I got very drunk and took a really cute girl back to the barracks. Turns out she was taking me to the female barracks, which are layer out opposite of the males. So after some pretty hot doing it, I get up and go to the bathroom, which turns out to be the hallway. I hear the door lock behind me, and the chick is already in the shower, can't hear me knocking. Had to walk back to my room naked past a platoon or so of female medics. They laughed, they cheered. I never ever lived that crap down. Story 8. I was with a girl earlier this summer and things were going quite well. We were switching positions here and there, keeping it fun. In one of our position changes, she kind of flails her foot a bit, in a fit of joy I am guessing, and hits me square in the balls. I had not been hit that hard or so cleanly since I was about 8 playing soccer. With my balls now up near my nipples and an immediate desire to start puking my guts out, I tell her I need a minute to recoup. Sadly, my junk decided it was not going to risk any other sort of injury and said it was done for the night. I tried to reason with my junk, but it was having none of it. The girl was so apologetic and was really trying anything to get things going again. But biology had other ideas. I ended up driving home with a case of bruised junk. Hey, the editor here, what do you think about the video so far? It would be nice if this video entertained more people, and this can only be done if you like and subscribe. See you in our awesome community, and now back to the stories. Story 9. I was orally stimulating my boyfriend at the time when I removed my mouth from the situation for a brief moment, and he decided to shoot his man juice up my nose. Between the inferno and my nasal passages and the feeling that I was choking, I was pretty sure I was dying. He literally fell off his bed from laughing sob hard. Story 10. In the middle of taking my boyfriend's virginity, his nose started bleeding right onto my face. I asked him if he was okay, and he said, yeah, it's just my nose always bleeds when I get nervous. Cutest thing ever. Story 11. Me and the girl I was seeing were real drunk, got back to her mom's house from a booze cruise real late, and wanted to have intercourse. Since her mom wasn't the biggest fan of me, we decided to it outside on her front lawn. We did our thing and then immediately passed out, buck naked on her front lawn. We ended up being woken up by her neighbor mowing his lawn a few hours later. Story 12. I guess my story is depressing rather than embarrassing, but here goes. So, I'm a guy. A female friend of mine came to visit me in the middle of the night with a girl she had recently met. They wanted to crash my place for a couple of hours to wait for their ride out of town. They had woken me up, so I just sat on my bed chatting with them. My friend came to sit on the bed with me and, before long, there was touching. The other girl was using my computer at the time. Things got pretty heated, and after a while the friend saw what was happening and came to join the fun. That's when it turned bad. The thought that this fantasy of every guy might be coming true hit me like a ton of bricks, and I don't know. I panicked. I sat up and said, I'm making noodles. Who wants noodles? I jumped off the bed and walked straight to the kitchen, feeling there what the crap. Looks on my back. Then I just stood in the kitchen looking at nothing and ended up making noodles with added tears. They left soon after. I still sob a little when I think about this. Story 13. It starts with the monthly red monster, and it ends with my mouth. Oh, and my best friend was the one who called me out on it, not the girl. I was wondering why she was laughing. Ugh, it tastes like the smell of a bunch of coins sitting in your hand. Story 14. I tend to squirt a lot. When it first started I was mortified, but as I got used to it, I owned my liquid awesomeness and it got to be kind of hot. So my guy and I are 69ing. He starts using fingers and I come, essentially waterboarding him. I felt awful, but he had been warned. Story 15. So one of my mates was orally stimulating his lady when the door to her room bursts open. He looks up to see her dad staring him down yelling death threats. Buddy is half snapped so he can't stop laughing, but he has enough sense to make a dash through the house and out the front door. After sprinting over to another friend's place the next farmstead over, he sits down to have a few more drinks. His friend takes a closer look at him. Dude, what's that on your face?